Uh, I'm Eric, your game master today for Miseries and Misfortunes, and yeah, we're getting ready to play some Luke Crane's brand new game about sadness in the 17th century. I'm super excited for it. Today we're only going to meet for about an hour or so. We're just going to hash the last the back half here of like people's names and stuff like that, and get ready to play. Maybe we'll play for the last little bit here if we can speed through it. But let's just to speed through it. Let's go around the horn real quick. Adam, how you doing?
Yep, I'm doing pretty good. Adam, pronouns he, him. Twitter on Hacker Blinks. How about you, Colin?
Colin, he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Colin it like I see. And I'm going to be playing Picard San Michel. Grant?
My name's Grant Ellis. My pronouns are he, they, and I will be playing Valentine de la Tour.
Okay.
Oh, I'm playing Mouston. As long as he can survive.
Yes. Okay. So, Sage can't make it. So instead, Colin is stepping in. And I worked with Colin a little bit last week to flesh out a character. But, you know, doing that in kind of in a vacuum with just your GM isn't necessarily the best for this kind of game. So I wanted to just make sure we're all in alignment and kind of hash out our motif first and foremost, because I've gotten feedback that our motif of finding the Holy Grail isn't necessarily the best motif. And we should have something a little bit more binding for everybody. So let's work on that. But let's start with Colin. Can you describe your character for us?
Sure. Picard Saint Michel is a young soldier who he's a Protestant, like his father, and like his father, he volunteered into the Domerville Regiment that was helping fight in the 80s Years' War, fighting the Spanish Habsburgs down in Holland. Unlike his father, he came back in one piece. In fact, he came back with a daughter. And now that he's back in Paris, he has gotten a reputation for being short-tempered and righteously violent on his little street, his little part of Paris. They call him Le Musket. Le Musket. The musket. You don't want to set him off. And most of what he does is to the purpose of securing a good life for his daughter. He's taking care of her. He's taking care of his infirm and very unpleasant father, and he's also taking care of his grandmother-in-law, all in the same shitty little apartment.
Oh yeah. Do you think? All right. So, was this like your family's apartment, or is this something that you kind of like scrambled together after coming here?
I think I scrambled it together.
Okay, cool. So then, awesome.
we found out I have that actually sizable debt that is owed to me. That is kind of at this point mysterious.
Yeah.
Someone owes me a lot of money, and it's set aside for my daughter. I think part of that money was the apartment. Like that is part of what allowed me to get that.
Okay. This is perfect. Okay then. So Colin, how do you feel about your in terms of like the neighborhood of where your house is? There's a very infamous neighborhood at this time in France, and specifically in Paris, for a lot of refugees and a lot of like transient folks. It's called the Court of Miracles, or Court de Miracle. Do you want to be around there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. This is also sort of like it's kind of located near the central heart of Paris. And the big thing about it is that this is also sort of like it's referenced in like Notre Dame and stuff. Corgis. I know that life. And it's basically, it's just where all the stealing orphans, you know, and all that is just hanging out everywhere. Not to saying that everywhere, you know, Paris doesn't have stealing orphans everywhere. The gamins are everywhere, but this is like notoriously bad. It's like just a bad neighborhood.
Perfect. Le Musket is going to keep his neighborhood clean as he can.
Yeah, perfect. Cool. Awesome. Adam or Grant, do you want to remind us who y'all are playing?
Grant, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. So Valentine de la Tour is a petty noble with a younger brother who is in possession of a manor house. They have earned this title based on their responsibility of taking care of military laundry. So the manor house is a place where soldiers' clothes can be cleaned, and that is sort of my duty to the crown. As a petty noble, I'm not required to pay most taxes, but I am allowed to carry a sword. And I have hope of one day achieving actual higher nobility and a title. But most petty nobles, that's just kind of a carrot on a string. That's sort of the general ideal. There are some rumors that perhaps my past is a little more shadowy than that, but I'm a born and raised Catholic. I make it to Mass twice a year. And I am a royalist with sympathies to the Frondeur, to the rebels that want to break past the... they want to break free of Queen Anne and Cardinal Mazarin, and I'm very sympathetic to that. Being on the younger side, I'm highly impressionable, and I have seen war firsthand, or at least I like to tell everyone that.
Yeah, you are absolutely made of conflict because on one hand you are a royalist and you understand all of these things, and on the other hand though you are one of the people. We'll see how important your nobility is. Cool. So awesome. So we're just gonna have to hash out a couple extra things here about just like Colin's, like the name of some of your dependents as well. But one of my questions here then is, I feel like for your character, like talking about this, I'd rather talk about this now than like introduce it in play. Would be like finding a connection to sort of get you like a promise, like a sort of like a trail or some sort of hope that like a path to getting your title, right? Which may not be the best way of doing it. And I think you probably have found someone who could like, or you've heard like you know where to find out more about getting the path to a title. Right?
Yeah,
and I have a name for you, for them.
Okay,
that's why I was bringing up if this is something you wanted. So it's a former advisor to Queen Anne who was not excommunicated, but sort of kicked out of favor.
Fell from grace.
They were exiled actually out of Paris, but rumors has it that they're back, and they're calling in favors and stuff. And they're so you never met this person. You've only met like sort of they're agents of them, and you've heard in the various salons and stuff. It's La Madame de Chevreuse. That's what she's going by now. It's obviously not her name, but that is the rumor, and it seems to be consistent. And so tracking down this person, and maybe like possibly doing jobs for them, or like a tit for tat kind of thing might work well. But she is you would know though that she is obviously not a fan of Queen Anne being kicked out, right? She's not like revolution, but she's definitely like she was wrong to do this, and you don't know where that's gonna go, but you know that well. Like she's not gonna be like off with their heads or anything like that. Like that's not where I'm going with this. I'm just saying that she feels she was unjustly wronged.
With certainty.
So that will be a conflict. Okay, cool. And then Adam.
Yeah, I've got Monsieur Mouston, who's a factotum. So that means that he's kind of like a trusted agent of a. I'm not a servant because it talks about how they keep servants, but factotums are their most trusted agents. So the idea is that if some merchant, some colonel, some prince who we haven't figured out yet, because I only work for one person, if they want something done and they want it done right and they don't want to get traced back to them, then they tell me to get it done. So
exactly. So in other words, Grant, you've been meeting with a factotum, right? Or you're trying to find a factotum of La Madame de Chevreuse.
Of course.
Cool. So I have a couple ideas for you for being a trusted agent here. And I want to ask you where you go because you're actually politically indifferent, Adam.
That's right. So Mouston is very Jewish, but he doesn't care about the politics because he's too busy. He works for his single person. He's like, whatever they need politically is what I'll do. I can't get too invested on the political side of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna always end up badly for you, anyways.
Oh yeah.
So, what would you do you have any sort of like, because you're indifferent, I'm gonna give you kind of the option here of like it's maybe like a choice. Like, are you leaning in any particular way? Like, would you rather work for an agent who's possibly more like royal, someone who's more like in the political spectrum? Who do you think you ended up working with, or would you rather roll for it?
Oh, I want to roll for it.
Okay.
I've rolled for everything. I rolled Mouston because I made my name table. I rolled everything. So this is a totally random character.
Okay. So then let's generate the political affiliation of your employer.
Oh sure, just using the same table.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Do you have a sweet little table over here?
I actually do
Politics.
have a table. Yeah, politics. Frondeur. Okay, so you're working.
Bam.
Can you roll on the quality table too to see maybe what exactly they are? Okay, so you're working.
No, it has to be some kind of higher class.
Yeah, it does. Okay.
So
I can't limit the table. So here's what we're gonna do then. Where does the higher class start? Does it start with trades or does it start with the bourgeois?
The way that it talks about it in the
See, the bourgeois would be the.
It says merchants, colonels, and princes. So it could be be a merchant, but I'm already in the merchant income level.
Right.
So I wouldn't be working for somebody at the same income level as me. So it has to be at least 100K.
Okay. So it has to be, well, it could be a bourgeois, just like really good noble or merchant.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So I guess roll a d4 then, right? So it'd be like, this would be either like the bourgeois, a minister, a noble without a title, or a noble with a title.
There we go. So
that's
noblesse stépé without title?
Yeah, so without a title. Okay, cool. So let me roll on. I have a table for that as well.
Rockin'. I love tables. Tables are so cool.
Yeah. Cool. So let's ranks, and we want a noble without title. I got a gentilhomme. So a gentleman.
Nice.
Okay. So let's come up with some things for them.
Gentil.
I have an NPC generator because this is what I love doing in Roll20. Is I spend a couple hours writing everything out, and there's a really cool there's like a table importer macro in the API section of Roll20, and I can just quickly just plop in rollable tables. So I've made up an NPC one. Cool.
So hold on. So Grant, you are a royalist. You're a royal supporter.
Well, where are you asking me this question?
Well, because so
my politics are, but yeah. I'm very sympathetic to the Frondeur.
Okay, so you don't particularly care for the person who's in charge of me, but I don't particularly care about politics in general because I know that there's such a hard time. And so because I've got them pulling me one way and you pulling me the other way, because I feel, one of the things about the motif is that it's that bond that is going to pull us together no matter what we end up doing, right? And so kind of a family or fast friends type of thing. And I feel like if we've got that kind of bond, then you're certainly pulling me in the, don't listen to all those Frondeur lies about, how life would be.
We should have a king. We've always had a king.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're going to continue to have a king.
Okay. So that works out.
All right. So honoring the previous roles. So there are Frondeur, and there are a gentilhomme.
Mm-hmm.
Their religion is they're a Huguenot or a Huguenot, so they are Calvinists through and through. Mm-hmm. And I think that makes sense to me. So I'm getting a picture of somebody who, the history of Calvinism is not great in France. It's really not great. So the fact that they're not like without a title, it makes me, and they're a Frondeur, it makes me really think that they were wronged, and they are kind of really,
So you're working for Monte Cristo.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, exactly. We're doing a Count of Monte Cristo for your guy.
Solid.
They are. I mean, literally. This is the looks and the traits that I got for them. All right. And chat can verify this is what I rolled here. They are wiry, sexy. Their traits are defiant and elitist.
Oh
Their
God,
attitude is
yes.
haughty, and their motivation is madness. So
This is
Definitely the
this
Count of
is,
Monte Cristo.
this is literally like
This is very close to the Marquis de Sade. Let's be honest.
yeah. This is kind of Monte Cristo meets like V for Vendetta. like this guy is out there.
Yeah, so
Remember.
that's
Wait.
beautiful.
Does
Do we have a
anyone
name?
but you know, like, is this a gentleman who goes by like a name?
They're definitely
like,
incognito.
yeah.
Yeah, like
just
I work.
the mysterious gentleman. That's who you work for.
No, well,
No, you know
I
their
knew,
name.
you know,
But
I,
you know
I
personal. He has a personal
Adam
relationship.
knows.
Yeah.
Adam
Yeah.
knows, but like,
but nobody
maybe
else.
no one else.
And none of you know who I'm working for. You might have heard of this person, but
sure.
you don't know, because like half of my job is making sure that none of the stuff that I do gets traced back to them.
Yeah. Oh man. Cool.
I like it.
All right. So here's a couple things for you. Okay, cool. All right. So then we have to start. Okay, this is really good. All right, let's come up with some names.
Yeah.
Let's start naming these people. Let's figure out the name for this count or this gentleman.
Give me that random name. Maybe
I
even
don't
one of
have a
the
random name.
occultist random names. That's what I'm doing, is I'm trying to figure out what's the life path that this person works in, and then
Yeah.
just pick a random name from there, right?
I mean, for me, I think it's. I mean, Petty Noble seems like the right one. But that also doesn't exactly seem right, you know?
That's why I was thinking the occultist, because that's, this is
Yeah.
a creepy guy anyways.
Yeah, let's
person
do
anyways.
that.
1,
I'm cool
2,
with that.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm cool.
9,
I'm cool
10.
with picking from the occultist names. And I need
There's
to generate
18 names in there.
a list. I know. Grant, you sent me a big old list of French names, which I am appreciative of. I just have to convert it all into a table.
Second to last name on that list is Aden.
Aden.
So she. Oh, just one N.
Oh yeah, awesome. Cool. No one else I rolled. She
Talk to me.
presents as a man, so she's like she's clearly so she's like a gentleman. I like this.
It's essentially my character.
Yeah, kind of.
This is the one that you wanted, right?
This is literally the shadow. This is the shadow of Valentine. That's what I mean. This is good. Okay, I'm into
That's
this.
probably why. She's having a hard time because they won't let her into the court doing anything interesting.
Mhm.
That's
Awesome.
I guess that's not super late. That's not super this time frame though. Like there was a lot of women's that ran salons. Maybe she doesn't want to run a salon though.
She's stuck running the laundry with me, right?
No, I feel like these are disconnected. But yeah,
She's got a hook.
no,
Rockin'.
she is.
Uh,
Like in terms of a tier, Grant, you're just not on that tier yet.
No,
Like,
not
just
at
the
all.
person that works for them. This
Not
person's
yet.
also like well-to-do. Like they've been making money, right?
yeah.
I have not
Or they
been making
have
any
money.
money.
What I would say is you don't know how they still have this money or whatever, but you just know that they have money, and it doesn't.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like they just seem to have. I mean,
Oh,
to
that's
you,
the worst.
Adam, right? They just
Yeah.
seem to have an unlimited amount of money.
I
Like, they just
get
pull it out.
paid.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, for the audience to know too, like petty nobles aren't really allowed to generate income. So like, and they tell you in the book, they're like, yeah, you're going to live in poverty and just be scraping by, but for the good of the crown, you might get this title one day. So it's like, if they have money, that grinds my gears, but that's wonderful because
Yeah.
my friend gets paid.
Right.
You get fed.
I have two other characters that I need to name, but
Dan.
let's rotate around.
Yeah. That sounds good. All right, so I'm just adding this to the list of people. Cool. So, what a big part of this, so everyone knows what I'm doing behind the screen here, is that since there's like 5 or so major political groups, I'm kind of filing NPCs and affiliations of people under those as sort of for sort of the faction game of our game, where what are people doing, and these are the types of people who might be getting jobs or giving jobs, or sort of like the big name mover shaker people of these factions. So this is good. Okay, so the Frondeurs have a den.
Mm-hmm.
Adam's boss. That's really good. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
All right, so we have a couple dependents that we need to start listing off and figuring out their names for. So for example, Grant, you have your younger brother. Colin, you have 3 people. Do we want to then have you all roll for like their political affiliate? Grant, let's focus on you because you have one.
Yeah, I'm not going to make everybody roll for
No.
everything. I like random tables, but
Yeah.
sometimes.
Grant, would you like to roll, or do you have a picture for your younger brother of who they are?
Well, we probably want to roll because my picture of my younger brothers always goes to my actual younger brothers, and they're not in this game.
Okay.
They might fit. I mean, I wish the consumption upon them both and for them to starve in the ruined streets, but
All right.
one, I'd really
Damn.
just appreciate if he took a bath.
Okay. So then, how about we start by rolling on? We kind of know the quality of the birth because they're kind of the same as you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then let's maybe go with. Do you want to do politics? And do you think maybe religion, or do you think you have the same religion? Or would you rather roll their traits and stuff, and then maybe that will determine?
Do we know Grant is the first son?
Yes, because specifically it's younger brother.
They called it out. Okay, so because the
Grant's
other
sheet
thing
did.
here,
I don't know.
the other
I don't
thing
know.
here
I have a
is-
younger
is
brother.
it might make sense to roll. I mean, if you want to roll for quality of birth, you can have a younger brother whose quality of birth is worse or better than yours.
It's
Right.
fair.
Yeah, it's possible, and that's why I mentioned, like, do you think you would roll it, or do you think it's the same?
Let's roll it just because it might be spicy and interesting.
Sure. All right, so you can roll it. It's just the rollable table. It's the quality table.
Rollable tables, quality table.
It's commoner.
Common apprentice fishmonger.
You got a brother smuggler?
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's smuggling in the laundry. All right, and then
Politics.
Politics. Sorry, I put this on the left
Oh.
side of my head where I can't see it.
Good.
Habsburg.
Oh,
There is one
you
true
do
crown in all of Europe, going right back to the throne of Spain.
This is
Yeah.
why we do this.
Valentin's like, there should be a king, and the younger brother's like,
Yes.
there should be, shouldn't there?
Yes.
Never want to go to those reunions, man.
I'm from Peter's very own loins and represents. You met my Spanish friends in the Netherlands. Oh gosh.
That's amazing.
So I was interested in maybe having a connection to your family through your brother, because your family does like soldiers' laundry, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned them possibly being soldier, but now I'm wondering if we were on opposite sides.
Well,
Yeah,
my
I mean,
younger brother, he could have. Oh gosh. If my older brother, who we've hinted at, who's dead, he's deceased, he died. I assumed his role.
Mhm.
Ended up going Merc, fought on the other side, and Raoul in the Musketeers novels does this later, where he goes off and becomes a mercenary. Merked on the other side, and then the younger brother has this fantasy of the older brother and is loyal to all those ideas.
oh God,
We can sit
Yeah,
in the same church.
I'm sure Picard Saint Michel talking about fondly of the battle in which the brother died. Like they were both at the
great.
same one, but they're on different sides.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that glorious charge of the Spanish right into our guns. I loved that.
Wonderful.
That is great. Do you have a name for your younger brother yet?
Yeah, what's your brother's name?
The name we call him or the name for himself. So
Oh, I
let's
love it.
There's so many.
his name is Raggedy Angelo. No, let's pull him up.
Let's
So if there's my French names list, and the French names, he is going to be my younger brother, Justine.
Justine. Justine would be your
Justine.
younger sister.
You're right. A little too close to mine. He's going to be Roger,
Roger.
and that's
Bon.
Was Robert Fernand's son in Count of Monte Cristo?
Oh man.
Yes.
It's Robert, then not Roger. So here's why. Was the actual nickname of my actual younger brother growing up, because we watched the Count of Monte Cristo together and we're like, you look like Robert. So Robert. Little throwback.
Solid.
That is lovely. Awesome. What's your brother getting up to these days?
Going to Catholic masses.
He's going to Catholic masses. He's
You're Catholic. That makes sense.
A lot of us are. It's a very prominent religion.
Most people are Catholic and royal in Paris.
However, he is something of a he makes sure people get to confession. Yeah. He reminds them of their obligations to confess by the mouth part of their face in that building over there.
Are you? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, are you saying? I thought you were insinuating that the church that's nearby has Habsburg, sympathies. I thought you were.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would never say that, but
I know, but yes. Okay. Yeah. No, this is interesting. Okay.
Monsignor.
Yeah, no. Okay.
I'm just letting you know that Picard Saint Michel is going to call your little younger brother Petit Papa, little Pope. Every time you're like,
Lutheran.
the little Pope. Yeah. Oh, my character is not a fan of the Catholics.
Yeah.
But is a royalist. So on that. On that,
we can agree on something.
God was right about a few things, okay?
Yeah. But the divine right of kings, no question.
Yeah, obviously.
No question.
That's a given. But the whole church thing, no. There's only one hierarchy that God made, and that is this. That is the divine right of kings. This whole Pope church business, that's wrong.
This is great.
I love it. This is good. Okay, awesome.
It's a little too close to home, my stupid younger brothers.
Now I'm thinking for the Habsburgs. So I don't mind again sharing this stuff around because I think this is interesting to know. But for me now I'm thinking of the Habsburgs. The Habsburgs are going to have a lot of Catholic priest kind of sympathy things, specifically in our districts and in the part of Paris that we're interested in right now. So they're gonna have some affiliation there. I imagine they're sort of maybe Spanish, some sort of Spanish, not like a Spanish Inquisition, but some sort of there's sort of an element here that they're fostering. This is good. Yeah, either and it could work both ways. Maybe some of the soldiers on the Habsburg sides who are also are I'm out of this, and they're cool. Well, we'll get you into Paris. We know some people, and we'll give you identities, and you can live your lives. Right, we'll protect you, and you're part of us, and you're basically fostering sort of.
There's a manor house.
What do you call people who leave a war? What do you call people who flee a war?
Deserters.
Deserters. Yeah. Thank you. They shelter deserters.
The Walloon regiments, right? They were Dutch and Flemish and Belgian regiments that fought for the Habsburgs, and 1648, the war is over. Where are all these soldiers who are Dutch?
You're staying in my manor house.
Belgian, yeah, they're all in your basement.
They don't pay rent.
I don't.
They work the laundry. I remember. I think at one point we talked about there might be secrets that are passing through my house. It's one of those things. It's I don't want to deal with these secrets anymore.
Oh man, I love this. I love it. Oh. Is this a well-known secret, or is this actually kind of hidden amongst? Is this something that could be found out and discovered in play, or is this something that's kind of known that the church provides for refugees of the war? And
I think nobody says.
Yeah. Okay.
It's got to be an open secret, right?
I guess so.
Because you have to have enough people that know that.
You're right. No one can know it,
right?
Yes.
It's not that nobody. Yeah, it's not that nobody knows. It's
but you don't have firm proof or anything. Yeah. You can't
No.
Nobody's going to get in trouble about it, right?
This is the Sasquatch of Paris. No,
this is good. Okay, cool. Yeah.
There's no firm evidence.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like it's annoying for the Catholics. So it's like, oh, all you Catholics are harboring these deserters. It's like, yeah, they're in my basement. I know that. But how do you know that? You have no proof.
This is
Exactly.
the yeah, like the good Samaritan kind of thing, right? Like these people are deserters, like they need our help just as much as anyone else. Um, but I think it's cool. Okay, no, this is very cool. I like this a lot. Because that's complicated. Because the question then is like, do the church says they're deserters? Is that actually true?
I
You know,
tell you,
and
in
like
this time
type of
period,
stuff.
the difference between a deserter and just
Right?
someone who didn't get paid for a couple months,
Yeah.
it's very thin. It's like,
Yeah, it's kind of the same.
I think if the Spanish had won the 80 Years War, they wouldn't be deserters. They would have just gone home. But because the Netherlands is now free, they're like, oh, those deserters who totally left after we didn't pay them.
How dare they? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So let's come up. Somebody want to roll? Or actually, let me do this. Let me roll on the ranks table that I made, and let's see sort of the main church official that's sort of behind this. A canon.
Oh, it's Cardinal Richelieu.
So it's no, it's so it's not that big. So this is sort of like a more localized effort, which makes sense. But I don't know in Catholicism what a canon is.
the Catholic
No, it's a rank.
Oh, I think
It's a type of priest.
Yeah, it's related to the canon law. I think it's
Yeah.
I'm looking
A
it up now.
canon-
I think
A
it's-
cleric living in a clergy house.
Oh, all right,
Oh,
so
that's
I'm
it?
totally wrong. That's
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and just for my understanding, what is a clergy house?
The church pays for it. So my city house, I had to pay for it. But
Yeah.
a clergy house, it's owned by the church, and they allow somebody to live in it.
So it's like a church owned apartment for
Yeah.
for priests and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's like exactly. So it's like a hostel. Okay.
Yeah.
But for priests, because like
Well,
it's not,
yeah,
it's
and
a
usually
little bit nicer, but yeah.
yeah,
it's
and
also
usually you're
giving
not sharing it.
retire.
Oh, you're not sharing
So-
it. You're usually
No.
not sharing it.
And there might be a
Oh, I thought
variety
we
of
were
things.
sharing it. Okay.
Like this individual might be in charge of certain things. Like they might be a professor that teaches people at the cathedral. They might be in charge of the
Yeah.
choir. They have a certain responsibility that they're
Grant,
in
you
charge
seem
of.
very knowledgeable about this, and this is your brother. So how about you roll for me here a little bit about them?
Okay, what would you like me to roll?
Well, for starters, then I would like you to roll. Well, we know their religion. We know their politics. So can you roll their attitude for me and their motivation?
All right, let's
They're at
do
the bottom.
this.
Purification.
We must purify the world. Critical speech.
Oh, they're polemical. That's their attitude. Right. So they write scathing shit all the time.
Sounds about right.
No, so they're polemical. So like they are just super like vitriolic, very critical writers. So which makes sense. I guess they're like really upset with how we're treated. Okay, I have to come up with a little bit exactly like where they want to hammer in like what is their attack vector on everything, but they must be really critical of they're probably critical of all nobility then. They're probably
Pape passing judgment on all of these people.
They
Yeah.
never live up to God's standards.
yeah. So
That's why they need the blood of Christ in their life.
are they critical? Do you think they would be critical of other members of the church too?
100% yes.
Yeah.
No one feels good at all. We all have that guilt, and they make sure we feel guilty
Right. And-
99.999% of the
This
time.
makes sense because and their thing is for purification, so it makes sense maybe that they're actually aimed more towards like like they're not quite like I mean, no, I guess they are a reformer in a way, but they have an axe to grind, and they have something that's really important to them that they want to see changed in the city, right? Like they are a crusader, right? They have an idea about the way things should be, but it doesn't necessarily upset the status quo too much like a frondeur, you know?
So here's the idea
I mean,
of a conflict.
Like, I mean, maybe
This
the
is a-
Habsburgs are right.
Well, here's a core
it?
conflict you have with religion in the world. So if a religion doesn't have a component that facilitates change, and you think of purifying, what I see that is almost as we have to stick with the word as written, and you must be careful not to stray into any interpretation, which by default would be a different kind of interpretation. So it's like there can't be any revision, extension, or modernizing of these sacred laws in texts. We've sung these songs for thousands of years, even if they were written 2 decades ago, and they were written on the hearts of the original saints. So we must be fundamental in our doctrine. That's kind of the way I would view it, without like saying, we're going to go back to Mosaic law, but they might remind us of it from time to time.
Well, if you need something practical for them to hang their hat on, the Edict of Nantes, right? That's the thing that lets these non-Catholics live in Paris. And if you're trying to get back to the basics, if you're trying to say, we don't want to change things, then why are you letting in all these people, all these Lutherans, these Calvinists, these Jews? Like, these are all threats to that stable Catholic message.
And there's like unenforced laws that like we're not even supposed to converse with the Jews in public. Like, hashtag for the audience, grants of Jewish descent. And I was reading the book, it's like, ooh, it's unenforced though, but it might be like, perhaps it should be.
What is, so obviously like pater is like father, but what is it in French?
Père, P-E-R-E.
Père.
Accent take U over the first E.
Okay,
I'm really gonna have to.
As opposed to an accent grave. I haven't taken French in 20 years.
So, père,
I've been trying to learn
Francisco.
German. It's like the
Me too.
exact opposite.
I know, me too.
It's so different. I'm like, I want to pronounce all the letters in this word, and French is like, why?
Yeah, French is like, pick about 2 letters, pronounce those, and make them all work together.
Don't pronounce them how
soft.
you think you pronounce them.
Yeah, it's fine. C'est bon.
Okay, cool. So Pierre Francisco, they are polemical, their purification, they're all going like back to so they are like super right wing, like reactionary is the word I'm looking for. They're like, no, we need to go back to the way things were like when everyone was Catholic. Right. Which is also funny because like the Habsburgs would do this. Awesome. Oh, okay.
Hey, doggo.
Cool. All right. So good. So now we have a lot. We're filling out our faction sheets. We're seeing how we're all kind of affiliated and how these things happen, and how these things all kind of relate to one another. We have to go zoom in back into Colin's because Colin has a bunch of dependents.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I do.
Grant, was there anything else we need to do for your brother? Did you want to
No, I
roll on
think
their
we've done
traits or
quite
looks?
enough.
Did you want to look at their traits or looks or anything?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what kind of scumbag they are.
So is your brother like
We're about to find out.
in line with the so they're sophisticated and they're crippled or have a prosthetic. So they fight.
Yeah.
They
Hook hand. So
you can roll traits again and looks. I usually give 2 people both.
Yeah.
Not either or, but like you pick like there's usually 2 to give. I find that gives a better context.
worn.
So they're sophisticated and worn.
That's what I think. So here's how I kind of picture it. They're like, to use a modern equivalent, which we don't have to do. They're like the coffee house professor. They've heard a lot of people that have read a lot of books without having read a lot of books. And they're very good at citing the public discourse without having done any research. And they are happy to hang about town. And they're very articulate and they're well spoken. And theoretically, they were in line to take the estate. But I kind of snatched it from them, most likely because my older brother warned us their heart just isn't in it. They would take our house and
That makes sense.
abdicate it, and it's
I mean, look at it.
can't do it.
Grant, that's actually amazing, because if you think about it from your brother's perspective, here you are hanging out with a Lutheran and a Jew,
You know it.
and so they feel very wronged.
100% wrong.
Yeah, and they're literally they're like getting radicalized by this priest. They're like, if you're nearby church, being like, the reason why we're failing and the Spanish are at our door. They're literally 100 miles away in this January winter. That comes spring, here they come. That the reason why this is happening is because we are not a Catholic nation, and like we let all of this riffraff in. Yeah. Oh, interesting. And so they're really okay. Yeah. So they're harboring all of these Habsburgs that come in too. So like they're like only Catholics. They help Catholics. Okay. Yeah. This is it. This is really good, actually. That's dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're basically, your brother is basically getting radicalized about this. Are we cool with this? This seems really
I'm
good.
100%
I just
cool
want to
with
make sure
this.
we're cool with this. Yeah.
I
okay.
understand. IRL, I have had no qualms stabbing a brother with a sword from time to time. So
Yeah, that's what's gonna. Your brother is gonna get real upset with you about this. Okay,
Grant,
cool.
is this stream going to be shown in court as like Exhibit A at some point?
I have no problem
Mr.
stabbing my brother with a sword.
this is the Grant Ellis playlist.
Cool. So then, let's come. Sorry, I know I keep going like teasing you, Colin, about getting to your character, and then we go back to Grant.
Stop it.
All right, let's work on your character now. So you have 3 dependents, right?
Yes.
Le Musquet has 3 dependents.
I am a little bit of a fuddy-duddy. I had actually made some of this stuff already.
That's
so, good. Like, I know my daughter's name is Reina. She's named in the Frisian manner as her
as tradition.
Her mother. And my father is Olivier Saint-Michel. And finally, my grandmother-in-law is Marie de Beer, also Frisian. I speak really terrible Frisian, like barely speaking Frisian, and they refuse to speak French, so that's a fun relationship.
Sounds about right.
Oh yeah. Wait, even your father?
Oh no, father doesn't speak Frisian and hates Frisians.
Right.
He blames the loss of his leg and his arm on the Frisian regiment that he stood next to at the Battle of Newport, and he says they ran, and that's why the Spanish cut into the regiment so deeply. And he's like super racist. Picard is not a fan.
Is your father-in-law also Catholic? Is he also like in this sort of like growing like Habsburgy?
Don't know about. I only have my blood father, blood daughter, and grandmother-in-law. So I know nothing about my father-in-law. So we can't. Roll.
Well, I wrote it. Olivier. I thought that was your father-in-law, but it's father-in-law.
No, that's my father by blood.
Okay. Cool. So you have an infirm grandmother-in-law. You have an infirm father in blood, and then you have also your daughter.
Yes. I'm thinking. So I returned to Paris with my daughter.
Okay.
My wife did not come. I'm thinking maybe the grandmother-in-law came at my wife's behest to like keep an eye on me and like make sure that I'm actually raising my daughter right. And then she got here and immediately got very sick, and now I have to take care of her as well.
Yes. Brilliant. It's the Parisian era. It's not good for anyone.
Yeah, it's like I get why my wife didn't want to come with me. It's Paris. It smells. It's all the time.
Yeah, it's really bad. Okay. That's good. So Marie, Olivier, Reina. So who are you currently working for?
This is not something that I had fleshed out, so we can randomize this. In terms of my skill set, I am a soldier. I am beefy. For the audience, I rolled max constitution and then max hit points with max constitution. So This
You
is
might
the
make
kind of
it.
guy who can take a musket ball and keep moving, no problem. And I think I think he's like a slab of beef, just a big old chonker.
Mr. Barrelman.
Yep.
So, do you have what would you consider your kind of goals are?
My character he's looking for a better life. Like, he wants to socially climb, and right now the only way he knows how to do that is money. His ambition is to become a captain and like run a mercenary company, run a regiment. And to do that, he's going to need money to buy the what you call the charter.
Yeah,
And he's
the
also going to need like
piece of paper.
sponsorship.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also going to need a noble who's like, okay, yeah, I need a regiment, so here's money and raise one.
Right. So you need a network.
I need to network. I'm a surprisingly personable guy, but I'm also a commoner. I'm a lowborn soldier who may have gotten a little bit of money from looting back in the lowlands. Maybe we don't talk about that, but I definitely don't have a lot of clout either socially or financially.
Okay. All right. So then, yeah, you're kind of open ended to who you could end up being with. So then maybe let's go back. Then let's spend the last little bit here today. Let's talk about our motif exactly and how we can hone that in, because that would help give a better picture of what we want to do. So originally our motif is, and we still want to keep some of this, like this is the big goal of the game, is is the quest for the Holy Grail. Like we want to do,
yeah, that's our campaign, right?
Yeah.
So been thinking about this, been reading about this. Our campaign is quest for the Holy Grail, but what is the thing that makes sure that even if we fail at that or get stuck on that or don't do that, we are still
Together.
Connected really heavily as characters, right?
Exactly.
And I think the way we've been talking about it is that we're super good friends and we've been friends for forever. That sounds right, Grant? Colin?
Yeah, I think so. From Picard's perspective, so he's a royalist and he's a Lutheran. I think on a religious sense, he connects with Mustan because we're kind of both outsiders, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a step beyond Huguenot. Huguenots are at least known in Paris. I'm a Lutheran. I might as well be German. And then over with Grant, we're both royalists. I think we might be royalists for different reasons. Picard believes that a king should rule because then at least you know who to blame. Like, he's been amongst the unwashed masses. He's been with his comrades in arms, and he would never trust any of them to rule him. It's like, why? I know my commanders; they were all pieces of shit. But a king could be good. A king, and if not, it's one guy.
Yeah. So we've grown up together, right? Like,
yeah, I like that. I don't know where your character is from. I might have been like born and raised in the Court of Miracles.
So it seems like one of the inciting incidents is that you've returned, Picard, right?
Yes.
Like you're back in Paris.
It literally would have been this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been this year.
And so it's like the friends are getting together again, and nothing's gonna break up your friendship.
Totally.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, because that makes me approach how threats should be handled, and because like to your motif of like what could break up your friendship, right? And why is your friendship stronger than that?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Grant, all that sounds good to you?
It does. So here's what I'm grappling with, though. If I've assumed the position of my older brother, I'm trying to Picard saw slain on the other side of battle. How do I connect to the both of you? I'm trying to find that core bond
through Picard, I think. Like,
so.
Like we were kids together, and then Picard went off and did all of his own stuff, and we kind of got separated. And then he comes back and he gets a hold of both of us because he's got connections, and it's not exactly hard to find you.
No, not at all.
And so we're mostly together. You've got that friend group where there's that one person that everybody knows, and that's how you know each other. I feel like
That's Eric. Now,
yeah,
so
right?
So
yeah,
how? Hear me out. How melodramatic do we want to get with this? Because
I wanted the
How
cup
far does
run
that
a
dial
Thor.
go?
Okay. What if I delivered your brother's body to you because I was the one who killed him?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
I would accept that, and I accept it's kind of one of these things. It's like the Musketeers say in the book: even if we meet each other on the other side of battle, we still know our bond, and our bond is true. We might try to kill each other, but our bond is solid beyond life or death. So it must have come to that.
I knew the name De La Tour, right? He's a Frenchman. We're both Frenchmen in the Netherlands. Neither of us really wanted to be there.
No, and I think my royalist connection is my best way to go against the status quo is to maintain it. Right. It's like, hear me out on that. It's like, no, there is all these political intrigues, etc. It's what my brother died for. So there might be a single king on the throne.
Can I kick this up? Yeah. There might be a little twist here that may be interesting. Colin, how do you feel about like making Valentine sort of and like his family sort of like you killed your friend's brother, but you won't let your friend's family like fail. Like, like it's kind of actually about like your family name.
Oh yeah.
Valentine and being like
absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, and it's really about your house and making sure that you are
La Musquette fires, but the De La Tour aims us first.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm totally into it. I'm totally into it.
That you won't let the De La Tour name fall to ruin is kind of like the test.
I killed one De La Tour. The other De La Tour pisses me off to no end. So then there's Valentin, who I actually like. And I'm like...
Valentin. Are we okay if Valentin's gender bending? Because I'm all about that.
Yeah, legit, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Val.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's almost one of these things. It's like, well, you brought the body back. I might as well put on the uniform and carry the sword. We pick up where he left off.
Okay, then. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah, that's probably how you get a hold of me too.
Okay.
Is that whole connection.
Good. This is good stuff. Okay, then. So we're not going to have time to play, but I want to talk about a little bit about the strategy for the big parts of the game here and where I want to see this thing go. So one of the parts here is that for the Holy Grail, the first part of that game, the way I see it, is that it's winter and you basically all are, it's cold as hell and you're more or less, food is scarce and hard. And the first part of figuring out the Holy Grail is you have to raise a lamb for slaughter for the spell. Like as like part of like your connection needs you to do this, and so you have to raise a lamb for 6 months through the spring and make sure no one eats it or anything. Right? Like you have to personally take care for it. So like that's going to be a big part of I think of the first part of the game. Is doing this part of literally like raising a lamb yourselves and making sure nothing goes wrong for it for 6 months, and then having to do the kill it, like then kill it in the ritual and let the blood go in the sand. And we'll talk about more in the future, but like the idea is that you have 6 months of making sure this lamb gets grown and nothing happens to it. And then in the meantime, doing all the other jobs in your life and stuff like that is happening while this is going on.
Real quick, what got us started on the Holy Grail quest?
Yeah, so I think it might be I think it's a vision. I have an idea of somebody who might have been like another person in everyone's lives, and that maybe help me figure out how they all link together here. But like I rolled up an anatomist / philosopher who needs help, who's like, and like a couple of their jobs that like they end up becoming like they seem to be like a pretty prominent person in the way I ended up rolling things. I was wondering if maybe like they helped you or the other way around. Like either do you think someone told you about it or do you think you all discovered it?
What if we go with the classic a good
vision?
Friend of ours died and we're trying to figure out what he was doing, and it turns out that he was on this Grail quest and we're like, okay, let's follow this. like our friend, this was important. We don't know why he thought that this would lead to the Holy Grail, but damn it, we're gonna see this through.
Our fourth childhood friend.
So then is that okay.
So you rolled
So
up
then
an NPC and they're
the
dead.
fourth, yeah, that's fine. So no. So no, this is good. This is good. No. This is exactly what we do. Okay. This is how it starts. Okay. And we'll flesh this out for the very first session, but this is the last part here. All right. So it's the funeral. You're all are getting done, and then like they're like a family member of your friend tells you, like, and they give you a lamb and they give you a letter, saying like, my dearest friends, you need to make sure this lamb is taken care of. If I was killed before this happens, I was killed by so and so. Avenge me. and that is the opening part, right? So first off, figuring out like they tell you like maybe like in the letter like they're like I know where the grail I know where the grail is, and the key lies with raising this lamb. Find out more from so and so, or like a book. Like you have to get this book, read this book. It'll tell you everything. And then also like I was killed. Like if I was killed, it was by this person, and take care of me, right?
Yeah.
I feel like do what's right is like what they would say.
Yeah, as kids, I'm sure we were all talking about the Grail as instead of playing cops and robbers or whatever, we were playing Grail quests.
So,
that's what we were doing when we were like 10 or whatever. And then we all split up after school, and this one guy is like, I'm going to keep going on this. I'm going to learn as much as I can about this thing. And we're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And then we all get back together and we're like, fine.
He's the one who took it too seriously. He's the one who
took it a little bit too far.
Yeah, and he is actually onto something substantial. And so this is what you're given. You're given their tools, like sort of the next step, and what happened to them, and leaving it up to you as an open-ended thing of what you do with their name. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
As like a beginning part. So I'll work on fleshing that out, but in terms of the structure for the first part of the game, that sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Excellent.
Cool, nice. Cool. So I'll get started on this and start writing this up. But y'all, thank you so much for hanging out. This is good because I know Adam, you got to head out. So
I got to get to well, I can leave in 15 minutes and still be okay, I think.
Maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. The roads are treacherous.
Serious.
All right. So let's go around real quick and say goodbye, say farewell, and we'll come back. We won't be meeting next Saturday because it's Big Bad Con. So I kind of have 2 weeks to do this. But anyways, yeah, Adam, take it away.
Hey, I'm Adam, Hacker Blinks on Twitter, and I'm going to a modular convention in Seattle. It's the first one, and they're going to try and hold it every year. And I'm really excited. It's going to be awesome. If you want to hear the stuff that I've been making that's maybe slightly weirdly modular, go to patreon.com/blinks, and all of the music on there, except for my full albums, are free. So you can listen to us whatever you want. Colin, what do you got?
I'm at Colin Like I See on Twitter. Right now, I am running games on Unmade Gaming. I'm doing a Symbaroum game that's going to be pretty fun. And like a bunch of other projects with there's this, and then there's another game with Eric maybe, and then just check my Twitter. I'm so fucking busy. Right. And Grant.
Hey everybody, my name's Grant. I'm an independent content creator for tabletop role-playing games. I have a Kickstarter launching probably next week, as long as it gets approved for a campaign setting for RPGs. Check that out. Follow me on Twitter at WisePapaGrant if you want all the details. I'll also be on an upcoming episode of WebDM talking all about play versus story and the balance between the two, as well as an upcoming table talk battle or tabletop babble, James and Tricasso's podcast, also talking about the campaign setting, the Kickstarter, and all the cool things I'm working on.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And then there's me. Hi, everybody. I'm Eric Fogaris everywhere. Right now, I'm in a couple games doing Sunfall Cycle on Wednesdays on Jesse Cox's channel. It's D&D and super fun. I was just on a couple Roll For It one-shots for D&D, which I think are live now if you find them on YouTube. Roll For It's a really cool community. And yeah, we got this game going. Yeah, as Colin alluded to, I'm stringing together a Pendragon game that's going to start soon. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on. So anyways, follow me on Twitter for the latest as well. So that's it for everybody today. Thank you so much. I know it's a short one, but I want to play for about 2 hours each week for this game on the weekends. So this will be fun. Anyways, thank you all so much for hanging out, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.